Hi friends, thanks for joining me. Today I'm working with the beautiful March kits, which are possibly my favourite ever. And I'm taking part in this week's sketch challenge, which features 3 photos. And I also had a personal challenge to scrap lift myself. Now actually I'm going to scrap lift my last layout, which would convert quite nicely for the sketch, I thought. And I think it was one of my favourite layouts I've probably created recently, mainly because the March kits are just so stunning. They have the prettiest flowers and elements. So to take part in my personal challenge of a scrap lift, I'm going to twist my original page so the torn edge will go across the page rather than vertical. And I'm going to use 3 small photos, just like the sketch. And I'm going to put that border underneath my photos. So a little bit different from the sketch, but actually I'm going to stick more or less to the sketch this week, if that makes sense. Absolutely adore this paper with the puffy clouds and the pretty colours. So I'm going to use it twice, picking out 2 different areas. And I'm also going to use that sketch, the black and white flower paper. And that background paper is just stunning, isn't it? Look at those flowers at the top of the page there. And I love the way that the girls have added some detail in that cluster with some print, maybe something like newspaper print. There's some looks like stamping on there. There is some swirly bits. Oh, it's just stunning. So I really had to use that for my layout. And I'm picking out for my title one of the big chipboard pieces. I think that was with the main kit. And it's really stunning. So I'm just like the sketch, I'm going to place my title between my photos. So I was on a trip recently to Paris with some friends, some crafty friends at that. You might recognise Julie there, who used to be on the Hip Kit team. And we went off to a craft show in Paris. So it was a trip we'd arranged especially just for this craft show. And we had such a giggle because I think, crazy girls all alike that love crafting. What's not to like about that? So these photos are actually from our last evening there. So it was only a very, very short trip, but it was a lot of fun. So it really was living my best life, to be honest. So rather than keeping my photos perfectly straight as in the sketch, I'm layering and overlapping mine a little bit so they fit in more comfortably. And I'm also going to offset them across the page so they're not in a complete straight line. So my thought was I wanted to add some colour down that central piece in line with the title. And I'm testing out or trying out the new stamps that came with this month's colour kit. I don't know if there's any left, but you really need to get some if you haven't got them already. They're going to be the most versatile stamps that you have in your stash, and you'll use them all the time. I like mixed media, but I get scared that it all just goes wrong. So what I love about these stamps is that you can control the amount of colour and where the colour goes onto your page. So I've laid down the ink from the colour kit. I've diluted them a little bit so they flow a little bit more easily. And I've mixed 2 colours together just to really kind of coordinate as best I could with those flowers. So I'm going to add some more colour above the page there. And I'm just using a very large round paintbrush. I've diluted the ink a little bit more so it's very, very pale, just to tie the top up with the bottom there. So the stamps in the Pocket Life kit this month are just lush. So At the beginning of the year, they introduced the new stamps. So we've had January, February, and now March. What a wonderful idea, especially for those who like to do pocket life. I don't do pocket life myself, so I'll just be using the stamps for journaling purposes, or in this case, to enhance my background. So I've just stamped onto the background with the various sentiments, and I've used a technique called stamping off, so where you would do the first impression maybe onto some scrap paper so it's not too bright, and then the second impression will be much lighter. Depending on the ink you use, you may get 2 or 3 impressions from one stamping, if you like. No, that's the wrong word. From one ink layer. So I've gone to flatten my paper under my mat because I've wet the paper quite a bit with the ink, the diluted ink. I'm just trying to keep it flat. So in order to carry on then, I am now just adjusting my clusters on top of that border. And then when my paper's a little bit flatter, I'll get it back out and put it all together. So I've used some bits and pieces, you can see there, from both the embellishment kit and the main kit. Some stickers, die cuts, and I think that was too high. I kind of feel like I needed the top of the photos to kind of go in a smooth arc or in one direction rather than go up and down. So I just moved that particular ticket. I fussy cut out some flowers from one of the papers in the main kit because I love a bit of fussy cutting, and it's what I did on my last layout. So and I'm just adjusting that torn edge there just so it suits what I've done so far, I think, so we can see the papers more easily. And although actually this should have been a really straightforward layout because I stuck to my original plan, I had a really clear idea of what I wanted, I kind of implemented that. I then spent the next, I don't know, half an hour just moving bits around, I think. So I added those black splats from the colour kit, the stamp in the colour kit. They are just the best because I've had some black splatter disasters in the past. They go everywhere and, end up on my photos or in the wrong place. Look how much control I've got with that stamp set. And incidentally, the ink pad was in the Pocket Life kit last month. It is also a Catherine Pooler ink pad, and it's different to the colour ones because it's more sticky, more permanent, I would say, and just goes on like a dream. So I'm just going to stick everything down. Now I've more or less got what I need onto the background. And I love how those black spatters have really added a little bit of impact to that cluster. It really draws the eye, I think. So as you can see here, I also splattered. I also stamped just under the title there, just to blend that in a little bit more. And I've added one of the stickers from the sticker book, which came in the embellishment kit, just to add a little bit more detail and layering to the title. So what I've aimed to do with those splatters is really to draw the eye up and down the page, but I didn't want to go too mad, which would be my usual thing. So I've kind of held back on those splatters. I'm not sure if I could have got away with some more, but I really love what impact they've added to the page overall. So I'm just going to stick all my cluster down and my photos. I wanted to use that frame from the Pocket Life kit, I think. And I do, if I'm only using partial frame, I do like to cut them in half to make them go further. It's a really good top tip there. So I'll tuck one in here, and you can see I've tucked one under the flower cluster. Or sometimes I'll use them on a separate layout and use them again. It seems a shame to cover them all up, doesn't it, when you have a beautiful frame or a die cut and you're covering most of it up. So those are the die cuts, I think, from the embellishment kit. I've just used one of the small journal words, memories, just to tuck under my flower cluster. And if you've got the Pocket Life kit, you can buy the die that, or the dies that will make cutting out the elements of the Pocket Life kit breeze. So I did that off camera, and you get 2 sets of each shape in the Pocket Life kits, and I've just die cut those out, and they look absolutely perfect. So they line up perfectly, you know, they just look so great, and it's a much better way, I think, because I think we're not die cutting the Pocket Life elements anymore. It means you can get a stamp set every month. I know stamp sets are so hideously expensive, and the beauty about the stamp sets, apart from the way that they stamp, are absolutely superb. The ink sticks to them really well, but you'll just use them again and again. So that about sums it all up. I have done the sketch and scrap lift challenges, I think. I've really enjoyed this layout. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process, and I hope you'll take part in the sketch challenge, and you've got till the 20th of April to enter. And thank you so much for watching. I would love to read your comments, and I will see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.